Hello and welcome to this Rune Weaving. This particular grouping has an interesting theme that came through, and I will do a quick minute to describe a little bit more about the Rune Weavings themselves, how they're different from the readings and other content you will see here. So in order to set that explanation up, I need to describe two things. One is that the runes themselves, their inherent connection with nature, with the natural world, is part of what connects me to them so deeply. And you will have seen that in older content from when I first started out. The second component that is very important to share at this juncture is that the idea and the premise behind this channel has always been about helping you develop your intuition, about helping you pay attention to the things that really connect you. So in that capacity, what has come about is I've thought a lot about the forms of communication that we engage with on a regular basis. And the rune weavings are different than the readings because they are going to explore the various ways we communicate. At the time of this filming, the first one and this one are based off of music, off of flute playing in nature. So the flute playing is channeled just like the readings, meaning that whatever feels like it needs to come through when I am standing in that space is what comes through. The additional advantages of the readings are that the flutes, the weavings, is that the flutes are tuned to 432 hertz. And this historically is more of the Earth's frequency. Depending on when you are watching this reading, that may change. We are living in dynamic times, but that's the significance in that capacity. Additionally, the different keys that I play in will resonate with different energy centers in the body. So, for example, this particular collection of weavings is tuned around our sense of identity and our sense of inner knowing. And so in this way, we really begin to understand concepts of self-confidence in a different way. Because could you imagine yourself, or maybe you recall times in your life when you have had such a deep knowing and such a deep confidence of who you are and what you're doing, that it doesn't matter why you're doing it, it doesn't matter what others think, you are just who you are meant to be. And in that confidence, I can guarantee that you behave differently. So that's what the tones of this set of weavings calls in, is this concept of self-confidence, when our inner knowing and our sense of self are so unified that there is little to no room for doubt or superimposed concepts from the outside world, or even doubt from the inside world. That is another thing that has become very paramount to me, is the distinctions between our inner worlds and our outer worlds and how they intersect and what that means and how we can work with these different ways of being to bring ourselves into fullness. Okay, that is enough of the basic introduction, but I did feel like it was a little important to share. The next thing I will do is go over a brief description of the runes associated with the options. And there will be timestamps in the description box as well as additional information, because these weavings are designed to tie you into different sensory states. I'm not going to do as much talking when I'm playing. I feel like it's contradictory at this point. That may change in the future. But what we have is in the first position we have Othala, a sense of heritage, legacy, foundation. And so in this particular instance, when I was walking, I was very captivated by seeing the evidence of generational advancement, generational growth, one generation giving to the next for the continuation of life. And at its core, that to me really is what Othala represents. In English, we have a lot of words to describe another word, and that is part of why learning the runes is challenging, because we are taking a dead language and we are combining it with the English I'm using here, English being the language that is full of synonyms. But words have meaning and they have impact. So that's what the first reading is going to call in. Self-confidence around the concepts of legacy, around the concepts of where do I come from, what am I leaving behind, how does it matter for future generations, what am I doing to honor, to heal, to engage with past generations. So as you watch that reading, I encourage you to visually watch the screen. Yes, that is some of the information coming through, but also take the time to close your eyes and just listen to the sounds to engage your body in that way. Okay, moving along. Option 2 is going to be Nauthiz. Nauthiz is the concept of need or necessity, but it is this concept that comes from a story tied into the 3 fates. And so when you look at this particular weaving, there are indications and suggestions in the environment that really lend to this understanding of the balance of everything, the ecosystem, and the 3 that you see on the stump that I am standing next to. So in this concept, we're really looking at in this weaving, we're really looking at the concept of self-confidence in times in life when we are facing things that we need to do that we are afraid to face. Things that we need to do and we are scared of how different it might look. We are uncertain and unclear as to the path or the direction. And yet the pull and the need and the desire is there underneath all of it. The final option for this set of rune weavings is Tiwaz. Tiwaz is the energy associated with the gods here. And if you look at the mythology, if you look at the history, the heritage, if you will, we learn that Tyr sacrificed of himself for the greater good of the community. And so in this way, a lot of times this rune is associated with concepts of balance, of justice, of making sure that things are equalized for the good of the whole. So in this story, the compromise, the sacrifice comes at the cost of a wildness and the desire to have a cultivated counterbalance. The wolf Fenrir being chaotic and not allowing the community to exist in a peaceful manner. So the final rune weaving in this grouping is about this energy. There are ways that you can look at it on the screen in terms of the cultivated aspects you find within the imagery, as well as the natural aspects. So the dance between chaos and order in some capacity is what you can be looking at. Beyond that is just a very personal experience that came through as I was playing. Like I said at the beginning, these are all what I consider to be channeled because, like the readings, I open myself up to the environment and I let those messages come through. For me in particular, there were a lot of mosquitoes and they were very interested in having some nourishment. So then on a very personal level, there was an element of sacrifice as I made the decision to move through the music and allow the message to come through rather than stopping and moving or swatting or disrupting every single time. Take that for what it's worth, understand that how it's meaningful to you. But that's what I have for this set of weavings. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you at future videos. It's okay, you can keep playing. I'll just edit it out later. Nope, I'm tired of being eaten.